Hey folks, it's Susie from BoatTIME. We're heading to Mount Shannon now to meet Brian, and he's involved in the depth measuring of the Shannon and the Erne system, especially the Loch Derg, and I'm really excited to hear everything about this. Hello Brian.
Hello.
It's so nice that you're here to explain us something about the depth measuring on the Shannon.
Thank you. Yeah. So this all started about 12 years ago when I was at a meeting at the boat club, and there was a presentation by some people, a group of people that had started that had a vision to map, create electronic charts of the Shannon waterways. And I was just very interested in it because, of course, I boat on the lake and I like the charts. Back then,
you
the paper
need the
charts.
yeah.
Exactly, yes, to be safe, yeah.
Yeah.
And back then, the paper charts were very poor. You didn't even have like Google Maps or anything, so you were just trying to look at a marker up the lake and find your way. So an idea of an electronic chart was good for me. So I joined the group. And we started collecting data in the early days, and we were using these sort of Garmin chart plotter units.
GPS.
Yeah, GPS units, just a small one was all you need.
Yeah.
But there were some limitations in the amount of data it could collect before it started to overwrite, and getting the data out was quite difficult as well. So I initially wrote a program which would collect the data straight from this and record it onto a laptop.
Okay, so you have more space for the data
exactly,
on the laptop?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this allowed to collect more data, and also the data was easier to extract and process.
Yeah, than from these Garmin
the Garmin little card,
Yeah, yeah.
So we put the data, I collect all the data and put it into a database, and then process it, which saves a huge amount of time, because previously the only way to do it was to go through the data manually, looking at it and find a point, find all the lowest points perhaps, and say, okay, this one needs to go on the chart. So you get the position and the depth and manually put it on the chart, and it's a very, very slow process.
Oh my god, yeah.
So now everything is automated, so it's very good.
So you put hundreds of data in one time on the chart because of your program.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, a chart, one file could have several thousand points of data. We collect 1 point every second.
Oh my god! Yeah,
so
that's a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah. If you're out for 2 or 3 hours, that's a large amount of data.
Yeah. And you were driving around with the boat. Was it you or other people driving around with a boat?
Yeah, there's a group of us.
Okay.
So in the early days, there was 2 or 3 of us on Loch Derg. So basically, just every time we went out for a day trip, we'd use the software to see where we'd been before, and then go somewhere slightly different. So each time you went up the lake, you would go across and do a new line, if you like. And you just gradually collect the data time over time. So in the early days, we were just collecting data on Loch Derg, and there was another guy working up on Loch Ree. So we had a little bit of data there, and the first charts, there was one chart for Loch Derg, and then one chart for Loch Ree.
Okay.
And then we eventually joined the two together, and then people would travel on that section and record data, and we'd add to it and add to it and add to it. Yeah. But the mapping, the one part is the collecting of the data and processing it. The second part is actually creating the charts. Yeah. And that is literally all hand drawn, and it's taken years of work to draw the outline of the Shannon. and to then add on the land and all of the significant buildings and other things, the reeds. All of these things have to be hand drawn.
Oh my God!
So it's a lot of work. It's taken several years. But in terms of the drawing, it's pretty much complete now. And then every year we just make a few small changes if there's a new jetty or a jetty's changed. Some of the buoys occasionally, or the markers get changed, and we alter those. So if anyone has feedback and they come back to us and say, oh, this is wrong or that's changed, then we update the charts, and then each year we send out a new set of charts for people.
All the people are working together to make these charts better for everyone?
Yes,
is that right?
Exactly, yeah. No one person could do this all on their own.
It's too many work.
It's too much work. So we rely on people from, we have a few guys up on the Loch Erne collecting all the data up there. So it's really good, because the first time I went to Loch Erne, the charts were very, very poor, and I was really nervous.
A lot of markers.
Exactly, yeah.
And rocks.
Rocks, there's definitely rocks. So the guys up there have recorded data, and that goes on the charts. So now when I go up there, I'm completely confident, because I have the charts with their data on it. And then when they come down, they would be confident on Loch Derg and Loch Ree, because the data we've collected is there. So everybody puts their little bit in, and it helps to make the whole thing work.
And everybody has a benefit of this.
Exactly.
Yes. And are there still areas you haven't collected data?
Yes. Well, the main navigation.
I think so, It's such a big area.
The main navigation is complete. We have data pretty much everywhere on the main navigation, and then what we focus on more now is outside of the navigation, and we have large portions of that.
Shallow areas, the weedy stuff.
So we try to find places that are nice and quiet, where you can perhaps go and anchor, which are off the navigation. But as long as it's surveyed and you stick to the charts, it's quite safe to go in and out, and it just lets you explore more places than you would if you were just sticking within the channel markers.
So if we if we have these charts, we can trust the numbers on the chart, and it's in foot, I think. We had. I could do it either way, but in the early days we had a meeting to discuss what to do, and most people were comfortable using feet. So it's in maybe in the future you can program something that for us meters are more comfortable.
The problem is
we have downloaded the charts from IWA, and we found a button to press in to get this in meters, but it didn't change.
No, it won't. Because of the way the charts are made, they are effectively small pictures, so you can't change the number. But now because the chart is effectively complete, and we're just adding small amounts of data as it comes in now for new areas. It's not beyond the realms of possibility of creating two sets of charts.
Oh, that would
but
be.
It's still quite a lot of work to actually create two sets rather than obviously the one set we do now. But it may happen. It may happen in the future.
We will have a look. And you are still collecting data. Is that right? I think the shallow areas are not ready yet. Is that right?
Yeah. So some we've done some shallow areas, but we want to. That's where we need to explore next, because the main navigation is complete. We need to start going off into the areas which may be safe to perhaps anchor, or maybe of interest and quiet areas.
So these tranquility areas Donald told us about. He wants to have on the Shannon for the tourists.
Exactly. So we have some, but we still collect more. So you know, using these small Garmin chart plotters and a sounder on a dinghy, we can go in and do some areas, and that's
where you can't go with the cruiser. With the cruiser,
and then for the really shallow areas, we've in the last year or two these deeper chirp. Oh, this was a chirp. These deeper balls have become available. And we found they're actually very good for surveying very shallow areas, and they can be towed with a canoe or a small boat. But canoes are ideal because you can go into extremely shallow areas or safely.
So just to make it clear for me, you use this little control boat,
radio control boat. So
to measure the shallow areas,
we can do, yes, So this ball has GPS and sonar in it, and also Wi-Fi, so it's continuously sending data back to the tablet or the phone as you're going along recording. So my partner drives our two-seater canoe, and paddles that. I sit in the front with the remote control, and I drive the boat. So we record two at the same time. So we have one ball behind the canoe, and then one ball on this, and then we can send this off into areas and record information as well.
Very narrow to the shore.
Yes.
Wow. So that's that sounds like fun.
It is good fun. It makes it enjoyable. It has to be fun.
So you're doing something for the community and having fun. That sounds perfect. Great. And so for us, we can download these charts from the IWAI.
IWAI. Yes. So if you're a member, all the members have access to the charts free of charge.
So if you pay the membership, you also pay for the charts you have made.
Yes, exactly. So and every year we bring out a new set of charts so that they're continuously updated.
More data.
More data's coming in, so we either were correcting data that we had before and it's more accurate now because people have gone over a similar area. Or obviously with new areas as people go in exploring.
All the beautiful shallow areas, maybe also in the Loch Ree.
Yes.
We have talked to Donald about this, that we are a bit scared of the Loch Ree because it's big and you have no place to escape. And we didn't have a closer look on the chart, but they are at the moment they are shallow areas or safe areas for us at the Loch Ree. Is that right?
There are more safe areas, yes. So, but yes, you need to study the chart, and also if you're using the chart, you need to zoom in properly. That's very important because if you're zoomed out a long way, you don't necessarily see the data so well, and it's difficult. You may be quite a long way from where you expect if you're zoomed right out, and as you zoom in, of course, then you see exactly where you are. So having the right level of zoom is important. We have recognized this the day before yesterday in the just beside the Mealy clock. We have zoomed not far enough in, and we saw these 14 foot. We said, no, that can't be. It's no. And then we zoomed in and find out, the 14 foot is there, and here it's a 6 foot or 5 foot. And that's very important. If you're going in the main navigation, it's not so much of a problem, but if you're off navigation, it becomes very important. And the other thing to bear in mind is, we are a group of amateur volunteers, so it's quite possible that we could miss a rock. If you've got just a little tiny rock, normally when you're surveying, you start to see shallows coming up, and then you go in closer and closer to find exactly the highest point of the shallow. But if you've got just a single rock that's on its own, it's easy to miss it. So there's always the chance we could have missed something. So you do have to take some responsibility on yourself as well.
On your own.
And also the GPS for domestic use is maybe only accurate to 5 meters.
Okay.
Now often it's very, very accurate and it looks completely spot on, but you know that you could be, say, several meters from where you think you are.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know,
you have to be careful.
You have
anyway.
to be careful.
Yeah,
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And responsible for yourself.
Yes.
And just have a look.
Yeah.
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 And go slowly.
Yeah, definitely go slowly if you're in uncharted or in the off navigation. Always go slowly off navigation.
And do you think Waterway Ireland will put in some new markers for these areas for the tourists to be on the safe side?
It's possible. I mean, we have had them put new markers in when we found obstructions.
Okay.
So we've had extra markers put in there to keep people safe. But in terms of them opening up areas that are off the navigation now, we've normally had problems because it means they have to then maintain that area and make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
And of course
and
that's
they
added
have to
responsibility.
Take the, responsibility.
So,
that's always
very difficult.
Responsibility, insurance, and so
very
difficult.
So
the wooden poles Donald liked to have in these tranquility areas.
Oh, yes.
I think they are far away.
Certainly the poles have been few and far between. Sometimes they do put in the buoys. We've got a few of these buoys that you can go and tie up to overnight, which is quite nice if you're not happy about anchoring. But there's lots of places now on the charts that are safe to go and anchor overnight. That you would be off the navigation.
Yeah. Oh, that's good for us, to find some lovely places, beside the normal navigation.
Yes. It makes it more interesting.
And even in the normal and secure navigation, you can touch something. That happened to us in the beginning. In the it was the Upper Erne. We were in the middle of the navigation line.
Oh wow!
And we touched something metal. The boat touched something metal. It made a big bang. It must be something metal in there. And we recognized the marker, and we told Waterway Island, there's something in the water. Have a look.
And that's the key. Is most people don't think when they hit something that they're and quite naturally your first thought is, oh, are we okay, are we safe, and so on. And very few people think, oh, where am I? Take the position. Because that's the most important thing. Or it's not the most important thing, being safe is the most important thing. But if you get that position, then it makes it easier for Waterways Ireland to go and check it, or for us to add something on the chart to make, so that people can see it in the future.
To put a post in, or a marker, or just a buoy or something like that, a red one.
Yes.
Don't go there.
Don't go there.
Because it was scary if you hear this noise, and I was running down to look if we get some water in. But everything, thanks God, was fine. Just a scary noise. So.
But that's with the charts you've probably seen, because you have them. The colour coding helps, because you can, if you're in the white water, you're pretty much safe. That's more than 9 feet deep. But you get to see the two shades of blue and then into the reds. So you can see a distance where it's likely to be shallow. And where you may need to slow down or take a bit more care, because it's getting more marginal with the depth.
I think normal people can handle this, with these charts, So we will have a closer look where we can go anywhere else where we have never been before. So, and you can you show me maybe something on your laptop how this is working?
Yes.
With the charts. So and this violet thing is a rock?
A rock, exactly, So if I go backwards, you can see actually as I went over it.
Oh my God.
Well, it may not be exactly over it, but you can see the rock coming up. And you just have to keep going around slowly to find the shallowest, the shallowest point.
The highest point in the water, or the shallowest point.
Yeah.
And you have recognized some fish here.
Yes. But it's as I say, it's a good way of capturing data in the areas that would be too dangerous to take a cruiser in, because you may damage the propeller or the rudder.
Or the whole boat.
Yes.
To get a hole in this.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people have done
because
they missed the markers.
Yes, a very funny story actually. Illen Moored, a very big island on the way up the lake. If over on the right, above the island, north of the island, on the right hand side, which is off the navigation, there is something called Cormorant Island, but it's actually under the water now. Oh, because when they built the dam for the Ardner Crusher power station, they raised the level. So it used to be an island, but now it's about a foot underwater. Oh. And when we were surveying, I actually got out of the boat and stood there just because right in the middle of nowhere, just because I wanted to stand on this piece of the island in the middle of nowhere.
But flying over the water.
Exactly, So it's about this deep. And but as we were there, we saw this big blue streak across the top of the rock, the shallows, where obviously a boat had come along and skidded across the top of it. So.
And lost the colour of the boat on this land. Okay. That's why you are doing this.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's, as I say, this is the software that comes with the ball. So if I zoom out now, you can see this is where the rock was, where the ball is on the screen. But you can see all of the little tracks that we did, and you can see actually the two lines together, whereas one is
the canoe and the other
one is the little boat.
Is the boat. Oh yeah.
So you go along, do two at a time.
Cool.
And then, as I said, we have the colours on to get close, fairly close to the ones we use in the charts. Yeah. So it helps me visualise in the same way with the colours. So it's very shallow.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
The red being shallow.
I can't handle this. So you can go here. That's fine, and here's not.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
But of course, we use that data then to put into the chart software and create them
with the feeds.
And then we have to we slightly fill in the gaps. It's called interpolation. We slightly fill in the gaps to make the chart look nice. But I'm very careful not to go too much, because it's guesswork then. And that's where you could have missed the rock. Okay. So I don't like to fill in the gaps too much.
Something in the water. But you never know.
Exactly. We try to make it as safe as possible.
That's what we said before. You have to be responsible with your boat and have a close look.
But with the exception of very isolated rocks, which are not too common, but they're there, you start to see the shallow coming up, so you know that there's something a bit shallow, and you're going closer and closer to try and find those. That's the extent of how where, if there's anywhere dangerous,
land or whatever.
So this is the program that I wrote. This is data logger. So basically you have areas here to connect to the GPS unit, so it can be set up to everybody's GPS unit is slightly different, so it can be used by multiple people, different systems. Okay. And these are indicator lights, so that they know that all of the correct data information is coming through, so that before they start recording, to make sure they're not missing anything. And then basically you would set it to start recording, and then at the end it saves the file. Well, it's continuously saving the file all the time, so even if it crashed, you wouldn't lose anything, which is so important if you spent 2 or 3 hours surveying and then it crashes and you lose everying. It's really frustrating, which did happen in the early days. With
these old GPS.
Exactly. So the other thing it does is when you start recording is it will ask you to record the depth datum. Now on the rivers it's not quite so important because the levels are maintained fairly well during most of the season. But on the lakes, the big lakes, we have a depth datum so that we can adjust the recordings. So every boat the sounder is a different depth. So in the database, I can correct the depth according to the different boat. And then on the day, the water level could be higher or lower. Yeah. So on the lake, so whenever the recording is made, we capture that information, and then that is also used to correct it. So basically on Loch Derg, we reduce all of the recordings down to the minimum
the lowest level
that you normally would expect to see. So everything is equalised.
Yeah, that's clever. I haven't thought about this. You have different water levels during the year.
Yes, exactly. So
in the spring is much higher than
can be. Yes,
can be. Depends on the rain. Yeah.
So in different areas we have different levels that we bring the water, all of the numbers down to that lowest level. So you should find that hopefully the water is always a bit deeper than it actually says on the chart. So that's the software that we use to record that. And then this piece of software is actually used to also to show visually where you're recording. So like on the software for this deeper board, this is the software that we use with the big unit.
With this shaft and the
So if I open up one of those, you'll see exactly the same sort of thing. You've got these lines as we go along, we record them. So that's a visual when you're driving along, and actually I send these files showing these lines to all of the surveyors, so that they all can see where everybody else has been, because otherwise you've got no idea where you're surveying if someone else has already done it. So everybody that surveys has a copy of these lines, and I update them regularly, so that when they go out, they know they can survey somewhere fresh and new.
They can go 10, 20 meters beside your lines and measure this part of the lake. Or the river.
So that's cool. And then the last piece of software is the one we effectively purchased.
That's what you said. These landmarks.
Yes.
It was so complicated to put this in.
So if we look at the here we have the outline of the Shannon. Now this took, and all of this is drawn by hand. So we from satellite imagery. So you get the satellite image from whichever software we're using, maybe Google. And then you have to draw around.
Oh my God.
So
by hand.
By hand. So Loch Derg
so many work
on its own took me several weeks to go around, because it looks quite simple when you zoom out, but as you zoom in, you then get to start all of the little tiny harbours and things.
Oh my God! Yeah, I see the points. You made.
Points. So it takes the whole system took many months. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit, and I just gradually added to it and added to it. So that connects to there. And normally this is all set up in the dinghy, so it's a bit more practical than it by hand. What we can do, we take that plug out.
Okay. Ah, okay, I see.
That can go in there. It's one less thing to carry. Sonar, select, screen. So that's now connected and it's got the sonar, but we need to put that in the water, obviously. And that is connected to the laptop. That's the battery pack.
Yeah.
That's everything. That's good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, I follow you.
All the green dots are now green, so they're
okay.
collecting all of the information we need to.
Great, yeah, yeah.
And then I could record this if we were doing a proper survey.
Yeah, cool.
So with that, we just drive along. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. So it's good for surveying large areas in a dinghy, much more so than the small boat. The small boat's just for small places.
And this is also with Wi-Fi to connect?
No. This is just this is connected. With this interface. A cable. Yeah.
Okay, you have this in a whole thing in the dinghy.
Yes. Yeah. And then on my cruiser, I have a big chart plotter, which again connects through this cable. And I can record as I'm going along in the big cruiser too in the same way. Yeah.
So Brian, thank you so much for being here, for all your explanations about the charts and the measuring and so on. And thank you for what you are doing for free for us. And I think a lot of people who knows now about these charts and how they came on will really appreciate your work and the work of your friends. And we want to say thank you so much for all the detailed explanation and showing us all your stuff. It's really amazing. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for it's been good fun to meet.
Yeah, thank you. So, bye.
Bye-bye.